Ernie Hunt, then already an England under-23 international, and his friend Mike Summerbee, who went on to win 8 full England caps. Well, we've reunited that partnership tonight. Mike and Ernie, two of the stars of that wonderful young Swindon side of 25 years ago. Well, Ernie, does your pal look 25 years older?
Funny you should say it, Roger. He still owes me £1.50 for his rent money when he stayed with me. He doesn't look that older, no.
You used to have digs with this young fellow. What was life like then?
Well, thankfully, when I first went to Swindon from Cheltenham, I was in digs for about 3 or 4 months in Tennyson Street, and we had a relationship from when I was in the B team together. And Ernie one day said, come down to the digs, come down home, and I went down there and I stayed with him for 7 years. And our relationship budded on the field as well. Because I knew exactly what you were going to do, didn't I, at any time?
You knew more than I did.
But we did. When we played in games, you know, I knew exactly what he was going to do. He could play balls and I'd be right on the end of it, vice versa.
And some other reminders then of 1963. England were beating the rest of the world 2-1 at Wembley, celebrating the Football Association's centenary. Tottenham became the first British team to win a European competition, the Cup Winners' Cup. The Beatles were top of the hit parade, and for a while, Swindon Town were top of that second division. Roger Smart scored the winning goal against Shrewsbury, which clinched promotion to Division 2. The whole of Swindon Town went wild. The average age of their young team was 21. They'd cost a total of less than £3,000. Yet firm bids of £99,000 for 4 of the lads had been turned down already. Bert's Babes got off to a home win in the second division, 3-0 against Scunthorpe. They went to Grimsby and came away winning 2-1. Away to Portsmouth, 4 goals for Swindon. Grimsby got a second taste of the Babes treatment, 2-1 for Swindon. Rotherham United made the trip south. They were beaten 3-1. Even the mighty, classy Manchester City, just down from the first division, were thrashed 3-0. 6 wins out of 6. Leeds United, with Norman Hunter, Jackie Charlton, Paul Reaney, Billy Bremner, Johnny Giles, they did stop the winning run. And Manchester City, on their own pitch now, also put a break on Swindon's dash towards the first division. Well, back at home, Swindon beat the big spending Sunderland 1-0. 7 wins in 9 matches, but Northampton, promoted with them 4 months earlier, finally broke the spell. And in fact, Swindon were to win only 7 more league matches the rest of that season. And a year later, as Northampton went up to the first division, Swindon returned to the third. Well, Mike Summerbee, that was certainly a roller coaster journey, wasn't it? What memories do you have of that wonderful young side?
Well, we all came together at the same time. Berthead was a very, very clever and shrewd manager. He had the guts and believe in young players, and he put us into the side, and he did it well. I always remember Ernie had played before me, and he was in the side before me, and I came into the side, and I played against Bournemouth on the Boxing Day, and had a bit of a rough ride, but I got away with it. Then I played Bradford City at Bradford, and I did reasonably well, and then he pulled me out of the side, gave me a rest, and he brought me back in. That's the way he was good at things like that, Berthead. Superb.
I mean, you had a wonderful relationship with the manager, didn't you, as young lads? I mean, you used to cut his hair, didn't you?
That's the only way I could get in the team, Roger, was just cut his hair. Yeah, it was like Mike said, we all come together at the same time. With Bert having the guts to put everybody in.
Yeah.
We played a practice match, and it was the more or less the Reds v the Blues, and the Blues were the young lads, and we beat the older men. I think it's 7-3.
Well, now, it was inevitable that the big boys of the First Division would be interested, flashing those checkbooks. Mike Summerbee was one of their main targets, a fast, young, goal-scoring winger who could also double at centre-forward. Summerbee's name was linked with many of the top clubs, Arsenal, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Everton, Newcastle. They all sent scouts to watch him play. And after 2 seasons in the second division, Swindon were relegated, and Summerbee moved to Manchester City for a fee of £35,000, big money in those days. And he joined a big club full of big names, and with them were to come some big honours indeed. The FA Cup was won, the League Cup too, the First Division Championship, and triumph in Europe. We've put together just a few of the many goals you've scored over the years for Manchester City, Michael. Started with one in a famous local derby match, and as we join the action, Manchester United are leading 3-2.
Just under 5 minutes to go. City now must find some reserves of energy from somewhere. Summerbee. Good shot! Summerbee a magnificent shot, but you will go a long, long way before you'll see a better save than that from Stepney. One of the saves of the season. And he's there again and lost it. Summerbee!
This may come through to Francis Lee. Still Lee. And number 7, Summerbee.
Lee, a lovely touch. Bell. Marsh calling for one out on the right. Bell couldn't set himself to play it, but he's found Miller. Ricochet to Summerbee, and a deflection in! I think it went off Smith. Lee. Doyle going forward, rolled on for Marsh, and here is Summerbee free. Yes!
Hey, Mike, what a team of all the talents. Rodney Marsh, Francis Lee, Colin Bell, eh?
We had a great side at that time, but before Rodney Marsh came, we had a great forward line then. We had a forward line of Francis Lee, Colin Bell, myself, Neil Young and Tony Coleman. Now, people always talk about, in Manchester especially, there was Summerbee, Lee and Bell. But there was two fellas in that forward line called Neil Young and Tony Coleman, who really were the people that fitted the jigsaw for a forward line to win the First Division Championship, because Coleman was a great crosser of the ball.
What about that management team? They were pretty useful too.
Well, the boss, Joe Mercer, I've known him all my life, and when you were talking early on about me leaving Swindon Town, it wasn't so easy as that. You kept reading the newspapers all the time about clubs fancying you, but no one ever really came in. So when I decided I wanted to leave, I'd happened to have gone down to Torquay to my mother's and was working on the deck chairs. Yeah. And it came over on the news that Manchester City had made Joe Mercer and Malcolm Allison the management team. I got the telephone number, I phoned him up, I said, listen, I'm available, do you want a good winger? And that's how I went to Manchester City.
Ernie, Mike's talking about working on the deck chairs in the summer. You had an unusual job in your close season too, didn't you, at Swindon?
I had quite a few, Roger, really. I'd done a bit of painting and decorating, window cleaning. Oh, of course, we both done grave digging.
Grave digging?
Yeah.
Aye.
We was getting more money then than we were playing for
Well, we used to get, when we were first started, we were on, I think it was 7 basic and 3 in the first team. So when
you get more than me then?
No, I saw your contract one day in the bedroom when you'd gone out. The thing was that and in the summertime, we were just on a basic 7.
Pounds we're talking about,
yeah,
not hundreds, folks. Yes.
£7.
Yes.
So therefore, we had to supplement our wages. So we got a job working at Radnor Street Cemetery, reopening jobs.
Well, now, let's move on, chaps. At this stage, let's see how Ernie Hunt followed you up to the First Division and more than £7 a week, no doubt. It was Wolves who finally got Ernie Hunt away from the county ground. The fee was £42,500, and Ernie was to share the joy of Wolves' promotion season in 1966-67, and in a total of 74 league games for Wolves, he scored 32 goals, a very high-scoring rate. That's why Everton paid £80,000 for his talents, but they gave him only 12 games in 8 months. Ernie moved on to Coventry and was their leading scorer in 3 of his 4 seasons at Highfield Road. But he also created many goals for others.
Ernie Hunt with a throw for Coventry, right back on their heels already. Mick Coop looking for Hunt and finding him. What a good start for Chelsea, and Hunt's crossed there. Rafferty going for it, and Rafferty has equalised within a minute. What a comeback by Coventry.
Mortimer. Hunt. Taken from behind by Webb. And a free kick to Coventry. Hunt taking it quickly.
Rafferty now with a great chance for Coventry. And there it is, O'Rourke. And O'Rourke puts it, the second goal in for Coventry. A quickly taken free kick, and how expert Coventry are at those free kicks by Ernie Hunt. O'Rourke fastening on it and giving Phillips no chance.
Carr jumping and touched in by Hunt. The equaliser from Ernie Hunt, like a bolt from the blue for Liverpool. They really are not accustomed to giving away goals like that.
Well, from Coventry, Ernie Hunt moved west for £7,500 to join Bristol City, then in Division 2. Here he was to meet Liverpool again. City had just beaten Leeds in an epic FA Cup win at Ellen Road. Their reward, a quarter-final at Ashton Gate against mighty Liverpool.
The referee today, Dennis Turner from Cannock in Staffordshire.
Have a good game, lads, anyway. I'll do my bit for you.
37,000 all-ticket crowd, but there are a couple of lads who haven't paid to get in. So Bristol City kick off. Red shirts, white shorts, the conquerors of Leeds United here in the 6th round, attacking the goal to our right. Liverpool in white today with black shorts, and you can almost reach out and touch the atmosphere here at Ashton Gate this afternoon. A throw then which Jerry Sweeney takes for Bristol City. Back for Big Tom Ritchie. Crossed in by Gary Collier there. Hunt is right in there. Now will this fall for Tainton? No, it won't. But here's Ernie Hunt again. Back this time for Brian Drysdale for Bristol City. The high cross again, and Clements has to use his fist. Can Hunt turn it back again? And it's no more than a fraction wide.
Ernie, you were a bit of a soldier of fortune, weren't you? You certainly moved around. Was that intentional, or did the clubs want you to move? Did you want the moves?
I didn't really want to move from Swindon, first off, but as we went back from the second division, back to the third, I felt as though I could better myself by playing in a higher standard of football. And Mike had gone, Bobby Woodruff had gone. Fortunately, there was one or two clubs after me, but I chose Wolves. And although they were only in the second division at the time, I had 2 good seasons at Wolves, and we got promoted into the first division. And 2 good years there. And there was a good offer come from Everton. At that particular time, they nearly had the England first team. Alan Ball, Wright, LeBone, Harvey, Kendall. And I thought, that's my stepping stone for the
Full England side.
Full England side. Unfortunately, things happened behind the scenes that I didn't know at the time. It wasn't Harry Catterick, it was their manager, like Harry Catterick. It wasn't him that bought me, it was John Moores, and
The chairman.
The chairman.
The Pool's
really bought me,
type, yeah.
And he played me on the wing, which I couldn't.
Your face didn't fit with the manager who took
With
over?
the manager, really, yeah. That's the old aspect of it. That's why I only had those few games.
Football has become a pawn of politics behind the scenes, don't they?
Well, it is now. I mean,
It is now. There's no
I
fun in
was
the
just, we
game.
were just talking last night when we were on our own, just talking in the hotel. And I said, you know, I went to Main Road a few months ago, and I was walking down the steps after the game, and I saw the chairman signing autographs. The state of football, where chairmen and directors are signing autographs at football clubs.
You don't have too much time for these men in pinstripe suits who keep appearing on the box, do you?
Well, not really, because I was brought up in an era. At Swindon, we had Wolf Castle, and at Manchester City, had Albert Alexander. They were seen and not heard. It was the management,
And the
Joe
players.
Mercer, and the players that did the talking. And if there was any problems, you know, there was board meetings where they could be sorted out, not for the public eye or the public gaze, which it is today. And as Rog said, he went to Everton. Sorry, as Ernie said, you'll have to excuse me, I call him Rog.
Yes, I know that.
But, you know, as you say through the years, they've become more involved.
Anyway, Mike, call me what you like, but call me often. Let's move on now. I suppose it's the dream of every professional footballer to play in a big cup final at Wembley. Well, for Mike Summerbee, it happened in successive seasons, would you believe, 1969 and 1970. And what's more, Mike, you were on the winning side in both matches. Let's have a look at those goals in those games, beginning with the FA Cup final against Leicester. And the Leicester goalkeeper that day, a young man called Peter Shilton.
Summerbee trying to elude Woolett.
Young, it's there! Neil Young! Jimmy Hill, what about that one?
Well, this goal was won without any doubt by the persistence of Mike Summerbee. There's no question about it. He fought for this ball. He wouldn't give up against Woolett. Look at him there. He just won't believe that he's lost it. And he lays on a chance. And this time, Neil Young makes no mistake whatsoever. There it goes, whack into the top of the net.
Well, after the final whistle, it was Summerbee, the big match, wanted to interview.
You know, he just told me to go down the line and take this fella on, you know. Well, luckily it worked out, you know. It was nice and green on the wing, you know, not so bumpy. I felt okay, you know, it was a good game, you know. I got the look of the ball, so.
Had you any fears at any stage that you weren't going to pull it off?
Well, I thought Leicester played well, you know. They had a few chances, but, you know, I fancied us all the way, you know. But, you know.
Well, the following year, Summerbee and his City team were back at Wembley, this time for the League Cup final. Summerbee, well, was injured during the match, but still played a crucial part in City's equalising goal.
Summerbee to flick it on in spite of the pain. And it's there! The equaliser! For Manchester City!
Glimpardo takes the kick, drives it hard and low, and Summerbee leads to the ball and flicks the ball high into the air. But the goal is made from now on by Colin Bell's magnificent jump in the air, wins that ball against all the challenge and flicks it across the goal and catches everybody out. And then Mike Doyle comes in for a simple task, a nerve-wracking one, but he gets it in just the right place along the floor in the corner of the net.
Well, this time, no interviews for Mike Summerbee at the final whistle. It turned out he'd broken his leg, so he certainly couldn't climb all those steps to receive his award.
No wonder he looked pleased. The man who scored the winner. Doyle, the man, thank you, who got the first goal. Alan Oakes, Francis Lee, who took so much stick, Tommy Booth, and George Heslop, a real mammoth at the back. Arthur Mann, and the substitute Ian Bowyer, Colin Bell.
Broken leg at Wembley, eh? Did you feel the pain amidst the euphoria?
Well, actually, by the time they were collecting the trophy, I'd gone to hospital, actually, because I limped off the pitch just after that incident of flicking the ball on. But the strange thing about that game is they just had the horse jumping competitions on Wembley, and that game was nearly abandoned before it started.
Yeah.
And we'd just come back from Portugal. We'd be playing Académica Coimbra in the European Cup Winners' Cup, where the weather was like 80, 90 degrees, and we came back to play in a situation like that. You know, the difference is unbelievable.
Now, Malcolm Allison used to run your City team, now a man of whom much has been said. What about a few of your inside tales about Malcolm and his ways of getting boys to win matches?
Well, he was a great psychologist, Malcolm. He did a particular thing with me. I'd got married and my metabolism changed, where instead of being out every night till 3 o'clock in the morning, I was staying in. And we played against Leeds in the Charity Shield, and I came at half-time. He said, listen, he said, you're finished. He said, you're not doing it. I felt really fit, but I just couldn't function. He said, you're finished. And this was before the start of the season when we were playing against Sheffield Wednesday. So all that week, he completely ignored me. He said, no, you're out the side. He said, you're not in. I'm not going to give you any chances. You're finished. So just on the Friday, he pulled me to one side. He said, I'm going to give you one more chance. And that's what did me. I went out and I played a blinder. We won 5-0, and I laid every goal on. Yeah. And he used psychology with me, and that's how he was with players, to get the best out of them.
All right, there we are, an interesting tale about champagne cigar Malcolm Allison. Well, Ernie Hunt used to use his brains too, and it's not every footballer who can claim to have made the authorities rewrite the laws of the game. But that's what happened with Ernie after an incident in a match against Everton at Coventry. He scored 2 goals, the second from a free kick. But it was that free kick which ruffled a few feathers. As we'll see from this television report, Ernie enjoyed a slice of kick for his first goal. The rebound off the post finds him in the right place. But what followed now is part of football history. After that one goes home, watch closely what happens now. It really was a part of football's folklore.
Free kick is being given against Hurst, for being rather too friendly with O'Rourke and getting his arms around him. At the moment, the situation is on for a quick one. Hunt! Oh, what a goal! Well, they don't come much better than that.
Well, Ernie, that little repertoire certainly fooled a lot of people, and it caused some problems with the referees, well, the lawmakers, didn't it?
Yeah. At the particular time, the referee allowed the goal. But at the end of the season, it was never put to print why it was banned. It was either because the ball didn't travel its circumference, or because Willie had flicked it out with 2 feet, which touched the ball twice.
Yes.
But it was never put to print.
And you had the one season with it, then it was banned, and you certainly were a box of tricks, wasn't he? He was always thinking things up, this lad, wasn't he?
Tell him about the other one.
Oh, we did another one when I was at Bristol City with Alan Dix and John Siller.
Yes.
That one was called the donkey kick.
This one we've just seen was the donkey kick, right?
This one was called the Nutcracker, and
the
I'll tell you what.
Nutcracker, yes, yes.
I had to stand with the ball between my legs.
Yes.
And Don Gillis had to flick it up between me legs.
Yes.
As he flicked it up...
You gave enough a crack.
Well, if he hadn't have connected, you could take it from there.
Well, there you are. You see, he was always involved in tricky things, wasn't he? Was he like this as a lad?
He was. In our day, there was characters, and I mean, he's a character, and people used to come to football matches to see personalities and characters, and they used to fill the grounds, and he's the type of person that did that. When we were young fellas, the reason why that you probably got us here, because you're talking about two basic fellas that are exactly the same as when we were 16 years old. Whatever success we've had, we were exactly the same, because we were brought up with Berthead, who treated us all the same. And we were brought up I was in Swindon, in digs, and we all had a great time. We all mixed in together. And when we used to go to the games, we didn't used to go in a car. We used to have a tandem. Mm-hmm. There we are.
Yes.
He was always on the front because he was bigger than me.
And we did. We used to go in a tandem with our boots on the handlebars, going to games where there's 25,000 people there, leading goal scorer, playing for England under 21s. Sam Burton used to come with us, and he used to ride his bike, and we used to ride to the game. And that's really the basis of what makes us just very normal people.
All right.
People that,
what about today's game, Michael? Now, people say, oh, the old-timers always say it's not as good today, but looking at it objectively now, the two of you, what do you think of today's football?
There's no fun in the game now.
No personalities.
No fun. You don't see anybody. You name me somebody you can go to a match and you think, well, if the game's not being, if it's not, because you'll get bad games wherever you go, First Division, Fourth Division, wherever. But you can't name me a character on that pitch. There's something, the game's not very good. You can't name me any one incident that something happened. He used to stick the ball up his jersey, and he's still got it up there now. But there's things like that. Alan Boyd used to sit on the ball.
Yeah,
the greatest was Dugan, shaved his head. The last one who just finished now.
Derek Dugan shaving his head, right? Yeah.
But the last one probably now is Frank Worthington.
Yes.
Yeah,
and what a good skill.
Yes.
Brilliant skill.
So what you're saying is lads need to be allowed to express themselves as individuals and not be overcoached in a machine-like way?
I tell you, there's one situation which you've not brought is refereeing situations. Referees in our day allowed us leeway. Allowed us. We didn't fall on the ground when fellas kicked us and look for someone to be booked or what. We used to... The more you could get away with people, you didn't want to show the opposition they hurt you. You got up, bit your teeth and ran on. The referees gave us that leeway. They used to run alongside you and just whisper in your ear and say, listen, I saw that, be careful. But you don't get that leeway anymore. We used to be able to walk up to a referee, put your arm around him or anything you wanted to do, you know, without losing respect.
Ernie, you work on the commercial side at Gloucester City.
Yeah.
Mike Summerbee, you make individual shirts. Neither of you wanted to be a team manager. Briefly, in a word, why not, Ernie?
I had the opportunity when I was at Bristol City, but I was involved in the sports shop at Coventry, and it wasn't fair on my partner for me to be down in Bristol all the time. But I've found with probably the last 5 or 6 years whilst I was playing, too much backbiting. It's like bitchiness really with women. It's so I couldn't. If I was working together, I'd want to be on the same par.
Yeah.
If I was manager and Mike was my trainer, I'd want to be on. I wouldn't want to be. I want to work together.
Ernie, thanks. Time for us to leave memory lane. It's been wonderful to talk to you and to you, Mike Summerbee, as you looked down through your careers at Swindon and other places. It's been wonderful meeting you all again. Well, that's it for this week, fans. We'll be back next week with another Flashback for the fans.